Hi, I'm Ilona Varo. Welcome to the Thrive Through the Holidays podcast. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Kristy Crandell, and we are going to be chatting about hormone health, sleep, supporting your energy levels, gut health, inflammation, and how to just do this all amidst the holiday season when we are bombarded with everything from every angle. So,
Yeah,
Kristy, if you could just kind of give us a little intro to yourself, and then we'll get into all the juicy details.
sounds good. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here and be a part of this amazing series that you're putting together. I was telling you before we started recording that I've jumped in and listened to a few, and they're amazing. And I think it's just providing a lot of really good information for your audience. So I'm excited to be a part of it. So thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, and tell us a little bit about you and your practice.
Yeah, so I am an integrative nutrition health coach with an advanced certification in women's hormone health. So I really specialize in supporting women virtually, really. My practice is virtual across the United States, helping them with their hormone health, gut health, and autoimmune conditions. Those three are kind of where my passion is, but I also work with people trying to get away from that yo-yo dieting mentality and heal their relationship with food as well. So I take a really holistic approach to my coaching. So we're not only looking at what are you putting into your body nutritionally, but what also nourishes your body off the plate as well. So there's a huge mind-body connection, as you know, and so that emotional component that has to be dealt with when you're dealing with healing from a physical ailment as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge believer in bio-individuality. So there's not one diet that fits all. So my approach is very customized to each individual, really helping them to identify what's the right nutrition plan for them that's unique to their own healing journey. So really providing that tailored coaching and resources that are designed to really empower my clients to take back their health. So, because I know a lot of clients come to me just feeling lost and feeling like this is happening to them, but really, helping them and educating them to understand that you have a lot more power than you think you do, and food is very powerful. Food is medicine, and there's a lot we can do to heal the body because the body has an amazing body ability to heal. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that approach, and the bio-individuality is so important because in my field, we have a history that we come into this present moment with, and life experiences and thoughts and feelings and beliefs and emotions, and there's no
yeah,
way that one thing is going to work for everyone. So I would say
exactly.
red flag alert if someone's like, this will help you because it helps everyone.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
a pause. Take a pause.
Follow this one program step by step, and it will work for you like it's worked for
Oh
everyone.
my gosh. I'm sure I've said this on this podcast before, but my number one biggest pet peeve is when someone says, like, it worked for me, so it can work for you. I just
Mm.
instantly have a full body reaction and just instantly shut down. And I'm like, I feel so unseen and unheard.
Yeah, it's true because you could have the exact same diagnosis or ailment, but what worked for that person may be poison for you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't, it's not, we're all so uniquely made that there's no one size fits all for anyone, really.
yeah. Let's talk about hormone health during the holidays. What are
Oh,
you seeing in your practice specifically related to hormones,
oh
either
gosh.
helpful or harmful?
Yeah, I would say with the holiday season stress is the big one, that really raises cortisol levels, which can create this whole imbalance throughout the whole body. Lack of sleep during the holiday, then, we tend to get more stressed, busier, our sleep starts to suffer a bit. And so then then that kind of cycles on to our food too. So maybe we're not eating as healthy as we normally do when we're not as busy. And so it's like this vicious cycle that really causes this cascade effect that really does throw off our hormones. If our food is off and we're not eating consistently, we're not eating the right foods consistently, then our blood sugar is off. Our blood sugar gets dysregulated, which affects our mood and affects our hormones. Our stress, like I said, raises cortisol levels, which causes a whole nother cascade of events to happen. So it's kind of this perfect storm in a way. The holiday season, like the holiday season is supposed to be this joyous occasion, which it is, for a lot of people, but it's also a very stressful time because we're trying to do so many things during a very short amount of time. If you think about it, like from November to January,
Yeah.
it's not that long a period of time, and we're trying to cram a bunch of things in. And it's also the end of the year, so you're wrapping things up at the end of the year. And then if you have kids, there's a million activities to do, and then you want to make it all magical too if you're a parent. So, and if you're not a parent, you want it to be a magical time, lots of celebrations, lots of time to get together with friends and family. And so it's really just, okay, how am I going to navigate this, but also keep my health and wellness kind of a priority during it? That's what I'm seeing the most right now in my practice, is a lot of conversations around, okay, I'm doing these things, all these things for my health, but this is a really hard time because I'm traveling a lot, or I've got all these family gatherings, and I'm trying to avoid certain foods for my health. And I don't know how to do that when I show up at someone's house and they don't have anything I can eat. And so really talking through strategies around that and how to navigate the holiday season, really, and really keep your health at the forefront of it.
What are tools that can support someone around cortisol, around sleep, around stress management?
I would say biggest thing is maintaining a good routine through it. Having some, keeping yourself grounded and keeping yourself stable through it. So, and that can sound like, okay, well, how do I do that? But I think, the biggest thing, one is like your perception of it. So as you head into the holidays, we're in it right now, but really looking at as, okay, how am I going to intentionally try to keep my health at the forefront so that my stress levels don't get out of balance, and my food, my eating, and my sleep goes all down the drain during this month. And so having that perspective shift, because we can either take the path of, okay, I'm just going to hit pause on this, and then I'm just going to indulge. Who cares? By the end of the month, I'll feel like crap. Who cares? um, Come January, I'll hit the reset button and we'll get going again. And, or you could choose to take the path of balance during that time. So it's like you're intentionally nourishing your body every single day as you normally would. And then being really mindful about where you're having more indulgence. Not saying you can't have, it's not black or white, like you can't have those indulgences. It's how am I intentionally going to go about doing that, but then also balancing it out with good nutrition, nutrient dense foods that are feeding me at a cellular level throughout the day, rather than just like cheese, booze, gluten, and sugar, all month long just because it's there.
Yeah.
So really having that perspective shift first.
Yeah, that's been such an important piece of this puzzle that I've also been encouraging my patients to do is you have to be intentional and you have to think ahead, and planning. I know it's not the sexiest term to plan ahead and to have, foresight into potential challenges and triggers, but if you go in unprepared, then you're most likely going to feel discomfort. So having that kind of foresight, planning ahead, knowing how the holidays went last year, using that as a reference point. What do I want to focus on? How do I want it to be different? How would I like to show up for myself? Staying away from all or nothing thinking, like you were saying, this is not a F it and throw all healthy habits and support out the window. It's okay, if I didn't love the way that I engaged in my life today, how can I show up differently tomorrow? Instead of saying, oh, well, I already fell off the plan, so might as well just keep heading headfirst into
Yeah.
something that's unhealthy or unsupportive. Health looks different for everyone, so
Right.
not in a
Right.
generalized term, but just in a way that you want to show up, feel aligned, feel authentic, what is going to support you. We have to check in with ourselves and plan ahead.
100%. And I think as you're thinking about that, setting some non-negotiables for yourself. And I know for me, I have three main ones to kind of keep on track is first one's is food. So, I want to feel good during the holidays. I want to have good energy. I want to be present rather than feeling drained and sluggish. And so I want to be really intentional about how I'm fueling my body during this time. And it's really is like what you were saying about being proactive versus reactive,
Yeah.
or being, if you go the route of like, who cares? I'm just going to go for it. Then you're in damage control at that point, And so having some of your own non-negotiables during that time is crucial. So then if food is a non-negotiable, then how do you walk into, say, a family gathering that maybe you have certain foods you're avoiding for health reasons, and you want to be able to eat the food and enjoy yourself during the festivities. So I always recommend when you're attending those gatherings, bring your own dish that you can share with everyone. A lot of places will have like protein that you can eat. What I found is there's usually vegetables are pretty sparse at events. So bring a big, beautiful salad or a side vegetable dish that you can share with everyone. And then I also always bring a dessert because I love dessert and I want to eat dessert. I personally avoid gluten. And so I'm going to bring a gluten-free dessert that I know a lot of people will love, even if they're not gluten-free. And I'm going to share it. And I'm going to be using lower glycemic sweeteners and whole ingredients in the dessert that I'm bringing. But that ensures that I have something to selfishly ensures I have something I can eat and enjoy and not be sitting there the whole time, like feeling deprived and feeling upset because there's nothing I can eat.
Yeah, I love that. I actually never would have thought of that of, okay, we'll just bring a main dish or bring something so that there's not any kind of, discomfort of sitting there and being hungry because you can't eat certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
just to also preface and clarify for this conversation, we are by all means not talking about restriction in
Right.
any way. We're talking about food allergies and autoimmune conditions where you might be in a flare and you have to avoid certain ingredients. Or if you're
Mm-hmm.
working on gut health, maybe there's certain ingredients that you're trying to stay away from. So just definitely want to
Yeah,
emphasize
that's a
that.
good 100%. And even if you don't have any food sensitivity and you want to make sure there's a nutrient dense meal there and you're bringing something healthy, a good healthy vegetable side dish to share with everyone. Um, and then another big one, going back to the person who might have an autoimmune condition or a health condition that they're um, needing to eat in a certain way, communicating your dietary needs to the host. That's a big one, and it's one that many people are really uncomfortable with and don't want to be a nuisance, don't want to be a burden, but if you have specific dietary restrictions, the host would want to know 9 times out of 10, I would say. You're not a burden. Most people want to help you and ensure that you can also enjoy the gathering too. So a lot of times it's a simple swap, that can be made to help accommodate you. And so I would say don't be afraid to communicate those needs, especially if it's family.
Yeah. And that brings up a really great point of conversations that I have with my clients is that encouragement to speak up for your needs. That in itself can be so hard because
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's an inner dialogue of, oh, well, I'm so needy. Like you said, I'm a nuisance, I'm a burden. That kind of self-talk really steals someone's voice, and then you're suppressing
Mm-hmm.
so much, and you're physically uncomfortable, and you're hungry, and you're mad at yourself and beating yourself up for not being able to speak up for your needs. So there's so much going on underneath the surface in
Yeah.
a simple interaction, such as telling the host that, like, hey, I can't eat gluten right now, so just want to give you a heads up, make sure there's things that I can enjoy as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then another non-negotiable is movement. Movement's really important to help manage your stress during the holiday season. And that can feel like, well, I don't have time for that right now. But that's usually the first thing to go to the back burner when during a busy season. And movement not only helps with stress, it helps promote better sleep. Again, it's that cascade effect, right? And so when you're thinking about movement during the holidays, maybe you don't have time for the long 1 hour, exercise class or high intensity movement. And in fact, during busier seasons, I always promote low impact exercise.
Yeah.
Because the season's already draining as it is, you don't want to be compounding that problem and draining your adrenal glands or raising cortisol levels. And so walking, Pilates, yoga, gentle movement during this period of time. And it doesn't have to be long periods of time either. So if you only have 20 minutes, I also like having some online classes that you have in your back pocket. So if you don't have time to make it to a studio or get outside for a long walk, that you have some online classes that you can do really quickly at home and squeeze in between activities. And then accountability is big. So whether that's having an accountability partner, a walking buddy, or someone you meet at the studio, or a trainer, if you can do that, or just simply just scheduling it on your calendar. It's amazing just the practice of putting it on your calendar and scheduling your day around it will help you stay committed to prioritizing that. Treat yourself as important as an important work meeting or a doctor's appointment, you know.
Yeah. And I really want to also emphasize it doesn't have to look a certain way. Like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
it can look different, it can feel different, it can be different than maybe it was another season of life. But that all or nothing thinking is a lot of times the thing that people fall into, the trap. Well, I just don't have time. Well, I guarantee you're wasting time or distracting or tuning out, numbing, avoiding in your life in some other way, and that time could be probably used in a form of self-care. So be really mindful of what you're telling yourself and evaluate
Yeah.
what's happening, how are you using your time and energy during this season. And I love that you mentioned lower impact, more gentle movement because we already have so much stress externally, environmentally, seasonally. So to add on top of that, high stress inducing exercise is probably not the way to go right now.
Right, exactly. And something is better than nothing. So
Yeah,
really moving away from that all or nothing is so good. And then the third non-negotiable is prioritizing your sleep. And I know these are basic, but I think these basic things are the first things that go
absolutely.
during.
People always want to add to their routine of like, what else can I do? What else can I do? And I'm like, let's pause and let's take a look at the basics first and foremost. Because if those
Mhm.
are not in a good routine and a habit, then you don't need to be adding more to your plate. We need to first
No.
go back and reassess the basics.
Yeah, these are foundational. These are what, I always describe all those additional things. Like if you're building a house, all those additional things you're talking about, that's the roof. That's like the last thing that goes on. We need to make sure the foundation and the walls are solid first. And obviously sleep's usually the first thing to go during a holiday busy season. And also sleep deprivation weakens your immune system. It makes stress harder to manage, makes you more irritable and moody and short fused. So we really want to optimize that. So some strategies to help optimize that during this busy time is consistency is key. So having a consistent wake time and sleep time. Those really help keep your circadian rhythm on track, which helps keep your hormones balanced. Really important to also limit your screen time at night. That blue light from our phones and tablets suppress melatonin production and actually increase cortisol levels. And we really need that melatonin production for good quality, deep restorative sleep. And so if we're suppressing that by being exposed to blue light right before we go to sleep, then you're really disrupting that rhythm there. And so it's a good idea to shut it all down minimum 30 minutes before sleep, but really an hour to 2 hours before. So swap that. And I was like swaps, not just restrict. So
Yeah.
replace it with a good book. You know, anything that you can do to help just calm yourself down before going to sleep, taking a hot bath, whatever that is for you. And that's also, again, going to help with stress during this busy busy period. And then you want to avoid eating too close to bedtime as well. Obviously, steering clear of caffeine or alcohol as well too close to bedtime. That really disrupts your sleep. Another reason is, when you're going to sleep at night, you want your body fully at rest. If your body is digesting food, it works really hard to digest that food. And so your body's not fully at rest if you're still digesting when you go to sleep. Also, eating too close to bedtime can cause your blood sugar to dip really low, spike and then drop down. And so that's usually a major cause for 3 to 4 a.m. wakings if people are experiencing consistently waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning. It could be a blood sugar dysregulation issue. It also could be a cortisol issue. Again, going back to the blue light exposure, if you're suppressing melatonin and increasing cortisol, that cortisol increase can also disrupt your sleep and cause that 3 to 4 a.m. waking to happen. So if that's happening for you, take a look at your screen time, take a look at your eating habits. Are you eating too close to bedtime? That kind of thing.
What amount of time does our body need to digest?
You want to stop eating 2 hours before bed.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Good to know.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I would say take some time to reflect on what's most important for you. What are non-negotiables? Your non-negotiables may look totally different. If you have these 3 basic foundational things dialed in, awesome. You are ahead of the game, and there could be some other things you need to fine tune or dial in just to prioritize your health. And map out a plan. Don't be reactive, be proactive. Because the holidays can be stressful, but it's also a time to recharge. It's time to celebrate, and you want to feel good during that time. You don't want to be, drained and worn out, stressed out, crabby, and a broken down immune system, and you're getting sick. So, you want to be able to fully embrace the season without sacrificing your own wellness through it. And then come January, you're already on your path. Wellness is something we carry through with us through each season. It's not something we start and stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I'm hopeful that people have kind of gotten out of that habit of, well, I'm just going to burn it down and then start fresh January, because I think we have enough evidence to know that that doesn't work. And
Mm-hmm.
so implementing more supportive habits now is a good time to start. I know a lot of people in their mind, they have a hard time accepting that because they just want to, like you said, test their limits during this time and go overboard with whatever they can because it is that season. But
Mm-hmm.
it's also, I think, a really good time to challenge, your relationship to alcohol and your
Mm-hmm.
uh, habits that are not supporting the way you want to feel. There's so many different behavioral, thought, emotional, lifestyle things that we can really assess. And if you find yourself telling yourself that, oh, I'll just start January, test it out. Test it out for
Mm-hmm.
one day now, just to have those feelings come up, just to have that experience
Yeah.
so that you can really be honest with yourself and maybe just try to make little tweaks now. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
fan of all or nothing in general, but just if you know there's a trigger for you or something that you've just been wanting to alter in your lifestyle, in your thinking, your behavior, play around with it now. Don't wait till
Yeah,
January.
exactly. And if 3 non-negotiables seems overwhelming and too many, start with one,
Yeah.
it's slow and steady wins a race. So just baby steps, if anything ever feels overwhelming, take a step back and break it down into a smaller bite-sized piece.
Yeah, I think that's really a um, skill and an asset for both of us. The way we work is, I think, neither one of us takes no for an answer of like, no, I just can't do that, or no, I'm not willing. We're very creative and curious of like, okay, well, how about we make it look like this, or how about we make it
Mm-hmm.
sound like that? There's So never give up on yourself in that
Yeah.
all or nothing. I'm just not going to do that, or I'm going to wait till January. Get creative, get curious, and try taking little baby steps towards whatever it is that you're working on, because that
Mm-hmm.
is the kind of reassurance our subconscious needs. If you keep telling yourself, I can't or I won't, you're reinforcing that belief, and you're going to have such a hard time making changes in your
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. So
Yeah.
small steps are absolutely crucial, and there is
100%.
no such thing as too small of a step. Literally, if
No.
you can't do the behavior, imagine yourself doing the behavior. Think
Yes.
about what it would feel like, what it would sound like, how it would look. You can
Hmm.
always break it down one step.
Absolutely. It's so true. I love that. And celebrate every little win along the way too. It might feel silly. You might be like, that's so silly, that tiny little step I took. But no, that's one step closer to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And it needs to be celebrated. And don't ever discount that, because for you, for someone on the outside, it may look like a baby step. For you, that might have been a leap.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
And that
oh,
brings us back
good.
to bio-individuality. Your
Yeah.
process will look very different than anyone else's. Stay in your own lane,
Yeah.
process, emotion.
Don't compare your journey to someone else's journey, whatever that is, whatever your health journey is that you're going through.
Yeah.
Your how you get to the end result is going to look totally different on how somebody else got there.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and that's okay. That's what makes you unique, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. In eating disorder world, there's always this like keep your eyes on your own plate, like don't look at what
Mhm.
other people are eating, like keep your eyes on your own plate. So that's the good metaphor. Keep your eyes on your own
Yeah.
plate in your health,
Yeah.
your wellness, your habits, and keep checking in. How does this work for me? Is this supporting me? Is this moving
Yeah.
me closer or further away from what I say I want? A lot
I
of
love that.
self-awareness and observation is necessary.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to start using that term. Eyes on
Yeah.
your own plate.
Yeah, 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 totally. It's
Yeah.
kinda
I
like
love.
in school, right? Like, keep your eyes on your own test.
Yeah.
Just stay in your own experience. That's gonna be the most beneficial for you because it's, like squirrel, if you start to go elsewhere, you get into
Mhm.
comparison and self-doubt, and I'm not good enough, and it's endless. So,
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's just self-destructive at that point. So you're
yeah,
not helpful.
yeah. Well, thank
So
you so much for sharing some tips on how to be the most resilient and nourished version of ourselves during the holiday season.
yeah.
And if people want to work with you one-on-one, how can they best find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Kristy Lee Wellness. There's links there to connect with me. I offer free 15-minute initial consultations where we can chat and see if it's a good fit. Again, I'm virtual, 100% virtual, so we would meet over Zoom, and love to support anybody who's looking for one-on-one nutrition guidance. I also offer free meal planning, or not free, free meal planning for my clients, but if you don't feel like you need one-on-one coaching, I also offer customized nutrition planning,
Great.
where you just fill out a questionnaire. We meet for 20 minutes to go over it, and then I put together a 14-day customized meal plan for you based on your health goals.
I love that. I'm sure that'll
So,
be very supportive for people because it's overwhelming. What do I eat? When do I eat? There's so many, so
yes,
many things to
yeah, it's a
consider.
big question I get. What am I supposed to eat?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
let's figure it out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So, yeah.
intuitive eating is a whole skill in itself too. It's not just as
Mhm.
easy as like, listen to your body. Like that in itself can be very difficult and triggering for people. So this is why
Absolutely.
we love what we do. We are incredibly patient and we can
Hmm.
talk about this all day long.
All day. Yep. Yep.
All
We're
day,
here
every
to
day.
help.
Yeah, I love
Anything
that.
you guys need.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your
Yeah,
expertise,
my
and
pleasure.
hope you have a lovely holiday season.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. This was fun.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you.